Geron Boots Ennis, what is the game plan? It is looking shaky, baby. Now, I got some bad news for the career of Geron Boots Ennis. As of me recording this video, many fans are left stuck wondering what is truly the game plan for Geron Boots Ennis's career. And in this video, I'm going to spend some time exploring my thoughts, the ego thoughts. I told you we were getting back to the basics, and here we are. And I think it's a fair question. The reason being is when Geron Boots Ennis and his last management deal, promotional deal, had a situation. The founder of that deal, Cameron Duncan, had unfortunately passed away. And there followed some legal proceedings where Geron Ennis got out of his contract because things he was promised the company wasn't able to fulfill, like fighting a certain amount of times. So per the deal in the contract and breach of contract, he was able to get out of his contract, similar to what Canelo did to Golden Boy, right? Canelo got out of his Golden Boy contract on a technicality, became a free agent. So when Geron Ennis did that, we knew he had options. Talented fighter, young, combination puncher. He got a nice look. So no Diddy, pause. But people didn't know where he would go. Out of nowhere, he announced that he was teaming up with Eddie Hearns in Matchroom. And a lot of people were optimistic. And it's not that Boxing Ego isn't optimistic, because throughout life I am, but I'm also a realist. And I had my questions. I had my concerns. And in true ego fashion, I used my platform and I expressed those concerns for this partnership, this marriage. I told you guys that I believe Geron Ennis will get paid more to fight with Eddie Hearn, but it's short-sighted, not thinking about the grand picture. Like, people say money, 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 money. Money is great. Money is a tool. Money can buy you things. We all need money. I get it. But you can also, if you make the right decisions, not go the route of instant gratification or fulfillment really quick and think about the long term of it. Like, for example, let's say you were trying to lose weight. Instant gratification would be like impulsive. I want a whole pizza to myself. I want to eat this donut or a dozen donuts. But when you get done with it, it might be good in the moment, but it's going to spike your glucose and your blood pressure is going to be higher. Your sugar level is going to be higher. And ultimately, you just added a lot of calories that you probably didn't need if you're looking to lose weight. So this is what I'm talking about, instant gratification. You get what you want right then and there. You get your fix, your sweet tooth or whatever it is, but at what cost? That's the same way I looked at this Geron Ennis fight. Yeah, you're going to make more money per fight, but how is Eddie going to build you? How is Matchroom and dazn going to build you? Because Geron Ennis is a guy that I even compared to my favorite fighter of all time, or one of them, Roy Jones Jr. And I said I see shades of Roy Jones. But I question, what would Eddie Hearn do? Like, did Eddie Hearn get Devin Haney? They worked several fights now. Did he turn him into a household name? I wouldn't say yes, right? He had Danny Jacobs. Jacobs is now retired. Did Jacobs become, under the dazn Matchroom brand and imprint, a household name? Or was he fighting to a draw in fights with like Rosado, getting Chavez Jr., which really no one asked for that fight, and fighting a UK fighter in the UK in terms of John Ryder, and then he got robbed in the John Ryder fight. Same game plan for Shakur Stevenson. And this is the reality. Fast forward to the future. Now people are wondering, since Eddie Hearn's and Geron Ennis's side lost a purse bid, what is the real game plan for Geron Ennis's career? So check out my other videos, but the choices are pretty clear. Geron Ennis, who said he wanted to stay at 47 and unify the division and become undisputed, he can either sit there, go through this Karen Chukadasian fight, a rematch that nobody really wants, which we'll get into later in this video. Or B, go against everything you told the public about wanting to stay at 47. You can still make 147 clean and not move up to 54 until you accomplish said goals. But if you do that, like I said, you're going against everything you said you wanted to do. So it doesn't look good. And that's where we're at. The Chukadasian fight is not a requested fight. The first fight was quote unquote boring. It just wasn't my favorite Geron Ennis fight to watch. Goes without saying, obvious reasons. But if Geron Chukadasian is the person that the IBF has ranked, then rules are rules. So he's your mandatory. You have to fight him. The other thing that is a big issue is if you do vacate your belt instead of fighting Geron Chukadasian, despite what I just said, pay attention. I just told you that it's not a fight that I personally care for or like because of obvious reasons. The first fight wasn't good. Geron Ennis pitched pretty much a shutout. But here's the thing. Geron Chukadasian, if he's earned his spot and he's the mandatory, then it's not up to me. I'm just telling you my personal taste. It's not going to make a lot of money. It's not a pay-per-view type of fight. That's what I'm saying. So there's better options. But if he's earned his spot and that's what the IBF says, it is what it is. Sometimes it's a good matchup. Sometimes it's not. Like when it's Kell Brook, his mandatory was Errol Spence. That just happened to be a fight that I truly wanted to see. But it doesn't take away right is right, wrong is wrong. So here's the thing. And a lot of people haven't broken it down like this, but leave it to your boy Ego. If Geron Ennis and Eddie Hearn are running around saying that Boots is the boogeyman, and then if he vacates to not fight Geron Chukadasian for any reason, the boogeyman stuff is over. The boogeyman stuff is over because you have a Brian Norman who says he'll fight you your rules, your backyard in Philly, and the unification could have happened. We just want proper pay because we're bringing a belt just like he's bringing a belt. We're young, younger than Boots, on our way up. Our team has a game plan for us, and they're also going to tax us to cross the street to fight you. So we want to clear $1 million basically. In order to do that, you guys got to come out of pocket, which is fair. Eddie Hearn, he let probably $500K or less get in the way of making that unification by not offering more money. If you are expecting something from a fighter who's not within your roster or umbrella, and it's against a good fighter like Geron Ennis, plus in his backyard of Philly, where he has a hometown advantage, you have to understand you're going to get taxed. People are going to want to be compensated. No more, no less. You didn't try to put it somewhere neutral. You're putting it in his backyard. He's bringing one belt. You want what I have, one belt. You want my name. You want my scalp. Pay like you weigh. Eddie Hearn went a different direction, refused. Those negotiations and the free negotiation period ended. Therefore, the fight didn't materialize. So that's one. And then two, if you vacate to move to 54, you can't say you're the boogeyman when you left Geron Chukadasian because you didn't prefer the fight. A boogeyman is somebody where nobody wants to fight him. You can't say you're the boogeyman and then you have valid options. You just got to either A, get the business right with Brian Norman, or B, you got to fight your mandatory. Despite if I like to fight or if you like to fight or if you think it's a boring fight. Rules are rules. The IBF has named this person as his mandatory. They've called and ordered the mandatory. Just like I want to see Benavidez. That just happens to be a big fight. I wanted Benavidez to get the Canelo fight, right? So I'm not anti-mandatories. It's a process. Errol Spence had to fight Ocampo. I went to that fight. Wasn't the biggest fight Errol could have fought or anything like that, but rules are rules. He had to defend his title after beating Kell Brook for the title. He fought Lamont Peterson, and then he had to fight a mandatory. That's how it works. So you can't call yourself the boogeyman if you're readily, or your team, turning down options that are viable options. So as I stated at the beginning of this Ego Thoughts video, what is the true game plan for Geron Boots Ennis? Losing purse bids, not ponying up to make sure these unifications get done, right? Stanionis, Barrios, now Brian Norman. So you don't put up enough money for any unifications to sensibly happen. One unification, you supposedly came close, but they say we want a little bit more money or a bit more money. And then you say, nah, take a hike. And then now you don't want to fight your mandatory, or you don't want to bid on it. And some people are like, oh, he lost the purse bid on purpose. Why did Eddie Hearn even bid on the purse bid? Because what if he didn't get beat? Why did you even bid on it if you didn't want to win the purse bid? You know, just to show face, to look like, hey, I tried for Geron Ennis. So many people believe, and I'll probably make a separate video about this, that Eddie Hearn wants Boots to move up to 54 because he cannot deliver any of the significant fights at 47, especially those unifications, and he doesn't have the money for it. So he would rather make in-house fights, because you have to look at it. Boots is the only champion on dazn. Brian Norman's with ESPN and Top Rank, and then the other two champions, which is what I said, Stanionis and Barrios, are with PBC, right? So they don't have another champion, so they can't really call the shots and, you know, get certain fights over the line as easy because they're not in-house fights. And this is exactly why I told you I had skepticisms for this partnership. And you guys assured me, you're like, no, it doesn't matter. Eddie's going to keep him busy. Eddie's going to do wonders and make him into a star. This is a great pickup. This is a great signing. I don't see the vision. Show me a big fight for Geron Ennis, and maybe I'll consider something else. But so far, losing purse bids, these failed public negotiations, none of this even matters. There's a lot of people in YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and it's a bunch of low quality content, rushing out quick videos, you know, people putting out 30-second videos, minute videos, YouTube shorts, 4 or 5 minute videos, just saying a couple of things. It's not that much real dialogue and conversation. And then you have people, content creators, who are putting out videos, and the fans are supposed to just talk forever about a failed fight. That's corny, for real, right? It's a slow news cycle, I get it, but that's what I think Eddie Hearn wants. He just wants a blame game and people pointing the finger at Brian Norman and Barrios, and to paint this narrative that Geron Ennis is just such a boogeyman, he can't get fights. Listen, Geron Ennis is a nice fighter on his way up. I get it. He is not the hardest hitting puncher that's ever graced a boxing ring. So that's what your team is for, to get fights done. You think people wanted to fight Prime Wilder if the deal didn't make sense, knowing Wilder can concuss you and brutally knock you out with one shot, right? You think people want to fight Tank if the money don't make sense, and then he can embarrass you and knock you out with one punch, 2 punches like he did Frank Martin? Absolutely not. But that's what your team is for. Your team needs to be able and be efficient to get things done at your expense, not just, oh, we tried. Trying is failing. There's a Kanye West quote, and he says his mom told him trying is failing. And if you think about it, it makes sense. People would say, oh, I tried this. A lot of things are binary. Like, again, I use this example. You go to the DMV, pass, fail. Did you do enough to get your license? Yay or nay? And that's it. Either you're walking home or you're driving home. Either you're leaving the DMV with a license or a permit, or you didn't complete the test or score high enough on the test, so you're not leaving with that license. It's that simple. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next for Geron Boots Ennis in his career. But so far, not so good. Second fight with Eddie Hearn. I think he had a 4-fight deal, 3-4 fight deal, and you're only on your second fight, and it's been struggle city. First fight fell apart with Cody Crowley. You bring in a guy who's 1 fight removed from being destroyed by Terrence Crawford, and that's David Avocado. And then now you're losing purse bids and a bunch of failed negotiations that were made very public, and the world waits and wonders what is next for Geron Ennis? So watch this space. I'll be here to talk about it as soon as we get clarification what Geron Ennis is doing next. But I'm really wondering, does his team even regret this signing? Because I'm sure he was promised certain things, and outside of money, I don't really see the benefit career-wise, at least to this point, in him signing and leaving the situation that he was already at, or leaving that side of the street, i.e. working with Steven Espinoza, working in conjunction with PBC cards. You don't look like you're in a better space outside of maybe making a bit more money per fight. But career-wise, you're young. The money is cool, but what are people going to remember you by?